Hello, I am Bentham and welcome back to Cosmoteer, where in the previous episode we once again died. I made a couple of mistakes and they came back to bite me. I didn't give myself enough maneuverability and other things as well. Didn't pay attention to fires. Got myself into a fight with two ships at once. All went very wrong. And yeah, that ship is gone. And so at the end of the episode, I asked if I should reload a save or start again, and the overwhelming response was to start again. So fair enough, that is what we will do. Once again, Bounty Hunter, and here we are. I do want to check the map, because I forgot to do that with the last one. But, okay, this time we've got 5 of these outer ones, and there's one missing from here also. Over here we've got some fancy stuff with having like a gas giant with moons and things like that. Quite fancy, really, considering that nothing actually moves or orbits. They're just various locations to travel to. Anyway, enough of that. Let us deal with what we have right here. So we'll do the usual thing. We'll add in that extra gun, and maybe we'll put on some more armor or something like that, just to make use of some spare money we have. We could do with more crew as well. We could start by rearranging. We perhaps have the money. Maybe we'll do that, and then we'll have the reactor in the middle. And then we can sell that, really. And then we'll double up this. We'll keep that off to the side for now, just so people have an easy way to get to the front of the ship, because at the moment the reactor is a little bit far back for that. We also would probably want to move these doors to here. And yeah, then we'll add in a little bit of armor. The standard stuff on the front mainly. Can also put some here, just in case any shots get past. And that's probably fine. We've still got a fair bit of money left, which is probably for the best. We can end up spending that on upgrades at the end of the sector. We know that at this stage this ship can probably deal easily enough with the ships in an amateur sector. So whoops. So where are you going? No, don't leave me behind. There we go. And we are starting with a hook, the good old standard simple thing to fight. We just hop over to it, target the gun, get that dealt with, and then you can't be harmed. You can just focus on taking out the reactor, and that'll all be fine. Oh, he is turning, so you can't quite shoot it, but you'll either hit the reactor or the control room, so that's fine. You can even repair right now. There we go. There we keep following it. Yep, this should all be fairly easy and simple to start with. But we'll try going with a different design again, of course. Off to the next one. I mean, we could potentially do the whole thing in ×4 speed, but you never know when something might suddenly go wrong. Wingbat, another one of the standards. So yeah, what I might try experimenting with this time is missiles. So far I've been ignoring those. They are sort of a higher tier thing, really. They've got a lot of work to set them up, more so than the ammo. I mean, they have the same system as the ammo, but then it's more expensive to set up all the components. We'll just take out the control room, and then we can probably sneak around the side and take... Actually, it's probably easier to attack from the front, because it's armor on the side and just corridors in the middle. But we've ended up on the side of him anyway. Just shoot him, it'll be fine either way. Should not be a problem. Now spinning around in a bit of a weird way. Just get up close. Because he's just spinning randomly anyway. He's not actually trying to maneuver anyway. Oh, he stopped spinning. That's weird. That's the thing. You do apply velocity to the enemy ships when you shoot them. So you can make them spin in weird ways and stuff like that. And that's why when you shoot a tiny little section of a ship, it can end up going absolutely flying. Just the less there is, the easier it is to fire what small bits remain across the map. But we dealt with that. Alright, off to fight this guy. He's on the other side of the map. Actually, that's not necessarily true. The map changes size depending on what is left. And pause. What are we dealing with? Another wingbat. Fairly simple, nothing fancy to start with. We definitely have the firepower to deal with all this stuff. And this guy over here. One thing that was suggested repeatedly was that I start using energy storage. It's something I just sort of forgot about, because I always had the mind of, well, surely a reactor's better because it generates more power. But the thing about the storage is that it can store a lot more than than a reactor can. And so it gives you very large stockpiles that you can make use of in a fight. So it could end up with people trying to ferry power cells from the generators to the storage. I'm not really sure how that works, which is one of the reasons that I've been ignoring it, that I'm not exactly sure what the benefits and the negatives are. But there we go, that is this sector dealt with. Only 3 ships this time rather than 4. Now what we need to do is some rearranging that involves adding in a FTL drive. Where should we put the bridge? It's always annoying because you can only put doors in the bottom half of it. I could put it facing backwards, but that might make the entire ship count as facing backwards. I don't know if that would really help the situation. Start moving things out a bit, make a bit more room. And then we can put it in the middle and have corridors just around the edge. That works alright. And then what we want to do is shift everything up a bit so that we have room. We can put the reactor there. And then the FTL drive behind it. There we go. We're alright for crew, fine for power. The thing can now jump. I guess we will also put some more stuff into it. Just because we still have some money left. Most of our money yet, so... Couple more guns to start. Just go for a lot of firepower initially. Let's extend out the armor a bit. We still want to have a little bit of defense on the side, just so we don't lose all our engines in random gubbins. Leaves us more limited in terms of power and crew. We'll now want to have 2 reactors rather than 1, I would say. That is more than enough, really. So maybe this is the time to try the power storage. I don't know whether power storage counts towards the... Like, if we just do that, it doesn't count as... it doesn't say that that improves the power situation, so it's hard to say if you're using a lot of these, whether you are meeting power demands. I mean, I guess it means that that is whether your generation matches up with your consumption, whereas if you have these, then you can have less than the optimal amount, but then you have a certain grace period where you have enough in storage to get by. Yeah, so we could get away with that for the moment, and we're still above the minimum amount of power, so I guess that'll be fine. That isn't quite so explosive as the reactors themselves, so that will be nice in terms of defense. As for where to put the bridge, what I could do for the moment is just have the FTL drive on one side and the bridge on the other. It's not so neat, but we need to sometimes favor other things like the ship functioning, so fair enough. But I do like eventually, once you have like enough space and the ship's big enough to have things symmetrical again, what you can start to do is have multiple control rooms, so that if one section of the ship gets blown up, the ship can still fly. And there's a couple of situations where that could really save you. Right, more crew. We could probably get away with just having a couple of little bunks. Yep, that's basically enough. They will make sure to have plenty of armor on the outside to protect what has now become quite a vulnerable area. There we go, plenty of that. Also, a little bit of armor on the back here, just in case. Shouldn't come up, but you never know. It might do, and then we might all die. Also, got to make sure to have fire extinguishers. Nearly forgot about that, which would be doom. So we'll stick those there for the moment. And what we'll do is make sure sooner to have more than one set of fire extinguishers, like some at the front, some at the back, so that we have redundancy, and we can get out of sticky situations where part of the ship blows up, or the enemy just so happens to set the fire extinguishers on fire, or something like that. So make it so. Still a lot of money left after all that, actually. Fair enough. I mean, this is more than enough to deal with amateur sectors for now. We go, everything's properly charged. We'll now plot a course. Where can we go? Well, there's one right there. That's perfect. Then, are there any more we can get to? There's some over here, so we can go to these 2 as well, so that we're definitely prepared. And then we'll start doing the professional sectors. Sounds like a plan. Off we go. This one's got 4 ships in it. We'll fast forward through the charging up. We've seen all that before. And off we go. 8 FTL fuel. A tiny fraction of what we already have available. Apparently, previously the game was a little bit more harsh in terms of FTL fuel supplies, but then after complaints it was changed because as a mechanic, I think the only purpose of it is to stop you from jumping about like all across the system to wherever you feel like. And that's not even a bad thing, really. There's the problem of making sure you have an efficient ship, and that is fair enough. So if you don't pay attention to how many FTL drives you've got, you just try and have one in a really massive ship, then you will start to struggle in terms of FTL. But otherwise, oh, hold on a minute. I spotted that notification come up. We have got someone coming in from the side. We might have this wingback killed before that ship turns up. Let's just keep fighting for the moment. We're actually flying away at the moment, so it'll take them a while to catch up with us. There's the control room, so at this point it's no longer a danger, but if we carry on chasing it, we might manage to blow it up before this guy even... he's moving pretty fast. Okay. Leave that guy for now, he is not a danger to us. Turn around and face the more important threat. Also, sneaky repair before the enemy has a chance to shoot at us. And it's as if we, I say it's as if we had plenty of time between the fights, but we've run out of our backup power cells, which now means we're going to struggle. And there's the thing. Oh, this is not the time to carry on shooting at that thing, especially when we're getting guns blown up here. Focus on... There we go. Control room is down. They've got one gun left. They are spinning like crazy. Apparently their control room ordered one of the engines to fire and then exploded, so the order never ended. We'll just finish this guy off and then go back to the other one. There we go. And over to him. 2,000 in damage there. Perhaps it's time for shields then. Want to make as much money as we can from each fight, so if we can avoid being killed, always nice. And yeah, maybe we do need to do something about power. Let's have a quick look now. We've got a bit of money to spare. A way of... The thing is, one thing you can do with shield generators is there's enough, like, you only need a 2x2 space in front of them that's empty to work. And so what you can do is have some sort of system like this, or even give it a little space there, and you can actually have your shield generators embedded in your ship so that even if they fail, there's no chance of them being blown up, and then they'll definitely have a chance to regenerate without any issues from the enemy starting to blow them up. So that is something to consider. Unfortunately, at this stage, we probably don't have a big enough ship to do that sort of thing. But when the time comes, we got a bit more room and a bit more money. That will be a fantastic defense to make sure that our shields operate as long as they possibly can. But yeah, at the moment we just want to have them mounted somewhere at the front. I might just stick one in the middle. And that'll do us fairly okay. Yeah, we'll do that. We will want a second reactor to make sure that we can keep that powered. So we could just do that for the moment. It's not the best because... also, we want to do some rearranging with this. We don't want doors on the sides, really. People are just going to be going out of these doors here, and that's all fine. But yeah, it means there's no corridors, which isn't the best, but I think that's not too terrible. Also, we'll just shift these to here. Probably best to make up for not having any doors here. And we'll also put some doors here. We cannot do that. Never mind. We'll move these doors out, I'd say. Then rather than, like, to get to that one, you no longer have to go door, door, door. You just have to go through 2 for either of these engines. At some point we'll mess with the engines anyway. We're now down some weapons, but we're up in terms of power, so can we afford some guns? It looks like we can. Yep, should definitely be able to do that if we just stick some more guns here. Yeah, we can definitely afford that. Might even make a bit more space, just so people can get to each of the guns easier. And still a fair bit of money left. Oh, crew are a little bit limited. I think now it's time to upgrade these. That's better. Plenty of crew stuff. We still have a small amount of money left, so I think I might just put these in. Can we afford any more than that? Can we afford to do this upgrade? Which I always like doing. That takes us over. Never mind. It's a bit awkward now, but it's still like 2 doors to get to any one place, so I guess that works. Alright, we will make that so. We're a very blocky ship at the moment. Have I missed anything? Maybe, oh, actually, some armor would be nice. My favorite... Oh, I can't quite implement that properly. I could put them here, but I think that would block the guns from operating properly. From what I've seen. So I guess I'll leave that for the moment. Yep, that's a good enough build, I'd say. Off we go to this guy. Hopefully we'll have the power sorted by the time we get there. We now have plenty of generation, so that should be fine for filling up the storage. Yep, they've done that easily. Lots of people retiring to their cabins. Everything's fine. Oh, we didn't actually target the ship. Target him. There we go. And quadruple speed. Until we get over there and see what we're fighting this time. It's the Jetsam. Let's go say hi. Target this. Then this. Then this. Actually, let's be... Can I cancel? Yeah, target that, then that. Because I know what they do. They always turn to show you this side. And it's like, well, that's your reactor. So, yeah, sure, I'll take that. Oh, there we go. We are nicely catching the shots with the shield. And their gun is gone before they had a chance to reach the shield with that. The other one, oh, nope. That's the thing. The Jetsam has this fatal flaw in that it just has a reactor entirely exposed on one side of it, which is dumb. And I will happily exploit that every time. Especially when its AI always favors the side that has the exposed reactor on in terms of how it's going to face you. And we got the Argonaut with the one cannon in the middle. And the two guns on the side. Target, 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 target. Should be fine. They might breach the shield with the amount of weaponry they have. But the important thing is that, like, the shield being there is worth its money pretty quickly. Because there's so much more damage that would be done if it wasn't there. And gone straight through to the reactor. He's trying to escape, though. I'm afraid there's no saving you now. It's all over. And there we are. The good thing is that I'm at least getting very experienced at designing functional ships for at least this stage. It's when it gets to the later stages that I start to struggle a bit. Can we afford another shield generator? Or could we afford 2 more? Have a proper fancy system. For that, we'd need to extend the length of the ship quite a bit to make some space. Or move these out and have fancy nacelles and stuff. That is something I'm thinking of, a way of using missiles when we get them, is that they don't need to be at the front of the ship, really. They have a really long range, so they can get away with being mounted somewhere at the back. And so I can just have some little missile pods that are sort of nestled in amongst engines and stuff. That gets these out of the way, which gives you a lot more freedom to build however you like, because you don't have to worry about this big no-build zone here that gets in the way of everything all the time. So the solution, while this does exist, is to just extend the ship forward a lot so that you have more room to expand out in front of it. And make a hammerheady sort of design again. I still like that idea, that you just have it bristling with guns and shields at the front. But I neglected the back. That is what I did, and the lack of maneuverability is what started that series of events that led to my demise in the last run. But yeah, I like this. The reactors being further back so they're not immediately vulnerable if the guns go. At some point we want corridors again. Maybe we'll make that point now. And here's a fancy thing I can do. So we're in mirror mode right now. Hopefully that will continue to function. I've not properly experimented with this yet, but what you can do is copy. I think I can just do a copy rather than a cut, because cutting and pasting is always scary. I can just do that. And yeah, this has stayed because it was only 1 tile wide to start with. There we go. Nice way of shifting everything in one nice go. We probably also want to move things down a bit anyway. Actually, we can just move the actual engines themselves down. Then we've got a nice set of corridors running around the edge here. Still plenty of money left, so we can afford that, if nothing else in particular. In fact, instead of just doing that, I can just build these. In fact, we could afford just doing that. There we go. I've learned, have plenty of maneuverability. It will serve me well. Should not be neglected at all. I will die. I would quite like to upgrade these engines too. Doesn't really matter that much though. Put some armor in there now that we have the space for it. And what I can do, because we still have a bit of funding spare. Whoops, I broke it. Nope, nope, put those back. That's fine. And then a bit of armor on here just to make it look nicer, really. No other particular reason. I could make it a lot bulkier to help protect things more, but in fact, yeah, I'll do that. If we move this out here and then we do like this and this. A little bit of extra shielding around the engines, just in case someone's shooting us from the back. It might save us a couple of seconds before we die horribly. Do a similar thing over here, having something stick out like this. Doesn't look the best. I might just have a block. Also doesn't look the best. What I'll try is this and this. Or this and this. Yeah, I like that. That's alright. Decorative, but at the same time functional. It's helping to shield the otherwise unprotected crew quarters on the side, so that works. Yeah, we'll leave that for now. Bit of money spared, just in case we need it. And we're ready to jump to the next sector and continue on climbing our way back to the professional sector level. Up to this one first, it's slightly nearer. A larger chunk of our fuel, so making like crazy jumps from one entire star system to another is a bad idea. But as long as you're staying fairly close to where you are, you'll be okay. And off we go. Yeah, the corridor should hopefully help people get around easier when they need to, distributing power to the engines and stuff so they can then spend more time distributing it to the front of the ship. Right, let's go fight this guy over here. These guys are all relatively close to each other, it would seem, which could go badly for us. We could end up with another case of fighting two people at once. Here's the wingbat. Target, target, target. That should all be fine. But I'm even going to speed this one up a bit. I think we know this is going to end. At the moment he's set to fly very close, but that's fine. It means more accuracy for us, which overall is good. Piece of cake. Onto this guy. Do some repairs in the meantime. So he did manage to get some damage on us. I mean, he's probably managing to get shots around the shield. It's only one, and it's not as wide as the ship, so that'll happen occasionally. Not too much of a problem. Another wingbat! What is this? It's a galaxy of wingbats, endlessly. I mean, I can't really complain. It's basically free money as long as we don't get attacked by something else at the same time. Yeah, we're just flying right up to him. It's because I keep setting that and then it sort of saves... It seems to save the proximity but not the direction that you attack ships in. So if I order it to be near a ship, then it will always try and be near ships from then on. I think there's a button I can press to change that. Reset attack defaults. I think that's the one. So it'll just attack at whatever range it feels is best instead, which is... I mean, honestly, the ship probably has better judgment than me half the time. It's another jetsam. In this case, I have the better judgment because I know that that is how you win. As soon as you take out the front gun, you've basically won. And our shield should easily deal with these shots. And probably also these ones as well. Yep, everything either hit the shield or missed. No damage at all. On we go. And if this is another jetsam, it's a falling star. Have we seen this one this episode? I don't think we have. Yeah, this is just another target all the weapons, then the reactor. That's all good. See how the shield holds. Oh, it is failing. Definitely getting... Yep, it's down. They're starting to get hits, and also power issues. Bit of a concern. Yeah, I guess we really do burn through this supply very quickly. It might be a good idea to have two of these now, on either side. Gives a little bit more survival time before it all goes wrong. But that is that one done. A little bit of repair work from when they managed to breach the shield. Once again, we have some money available. Now it might be time to have the second shield. Or the two extra shields, potentially. We could either have this be on either side instead, or have two extra ones. I like the idea of two extra ones, because that's more overall. I will need to do a bit of rearranging. Copy this. And then I think, yeah, I can just copy rather than cutting. Paste it there. Gives us a bit more space to work with inside. So let's see, we can move this down. Whoops, I'm still in this mode. Do not want to be in this mode. Move this down. Build some shields here. Right, I'll build them like that, I think. Yeah, and then these two shields protect this one, so even if this shield here fails, they won't be able to damage the generator until they've knocked out one of the outer ones as well. Which is nice, and then we want to make sure that we at least have the same amount of firepower as we have had so far. Unfortunately, the engine is still not in a good position for that. I will move this down, and then I can move this down. And that lets us just mount it on the side like that. Makes it more accessible to people delivering power, which is probably for the best. Then let's try doing this. And this, we want the generators to be in contact with the storage so that it can easily be delivered. We'll add some doors into the side here. Do a similar thing for the generators. Makes a lovely pattern with the doors. Always nice. Always a plus. Then, what else can we do? Now, I just realized I can't upgrade this engine because then it will have one extra range out the front, and so it won't work anymore. So, I mean, we don't need to reverse. Reversing is fine. It's going forward that's the issue, so we've got enough engines for that. Let's fix the armor at the back. We'll just have it like that this time, I think. I'll move all this down by a square. And yeah, that does cost extra money. So yeah, I initially wasn't able to tell exactly if we were losing or gaining money, but I did just notice there that was definitely... Yeah, if I just keep doing that, does that make the cost go up or what? No, it is the same. Yeah, so putting it back in the same place, it'll then act as if it never changed, but moving it, I will lose some of the cost every time. So complete rearranges of the ship end up being quite expensive, which is a shame. Because that's how I like to do it. I like to move things out a tile at a time and stuff like that. Like, what I would like to do right now is move this up now, and then I have the room to expand and put this this extra engine in. And I'm going to do that anyway. If we move this up here, we move this here, then we can... Oh, keep an eye on the money. Yep, money's still fine. We can add in large thrusters back here. I'll get rid of these corridors. We don't need them anymore. I can add large thrusters in here as well. Maneuverability is important, as I've learned. As I've made the mistake learning. Oh, I have just remembered that when people try and go past each other in a corridor, if it's one wide, they can struggle. They slow down quite a bit, so I might move everything else out even more. The only extra expense here, actually, is the new corridors, because I've already moved these once, so moving them again makes no difference. We've already spent the cost of getting the money back for picking them up before moving them, so... Yeah, what else do we want? We could now do with more power and more crew. How do we resolve that? Move everything out some more, I think. And then we've got some space here. Oh, I don't want to be in mirror mode. Turn that off. Move this back to here. Then we can afford a reactor in the middle. Not the best arrangement. I'll actually move these forwards instead and then have a reactor at the back. Whoops, like that. Fixes the power. Still not great with crew. We'll move this down, move that down, and add in some extra crew quarters. Oh, I'm not in mirror mode anymore. Oh no, I've ruined everything. There. Now that's fine, and now we need to make sure that we replace the fire extinguishers. Never forget about the fire extinguishers. So that's in... it's in defenses. Of course, we can easily nestle them in here. Oh, we got to insufficient funds. When did that happen? Oh no, it'll be hiring all the extra crew, won't it? Damn it, if I put this in for now, we can now afford that. It's not the best situation. Put some armor in there, which is in a way better than before. Crew's still doing alright. Can we afford the fire extinguishers? We need to at least have some. Yeah, we can do that. We could try putting some up here, but we want this space clear for people to work in, really. I think for the moment we'll just try and get away with what we've got. How much money do we have spare? Practically none, but I would like to try doing that. And then this. We can afford that just about. So we'll make that so. Very square ship this particular time round. We'll let everyone get everything powered again. Yeah, where it really takes a while for everything to build up in terms of energy. There we go, it's all charged and working. Let us plot a course to the final amateur sector of the day. Next episode, we will advance to the professional sectors and give them another go. At this stage in amateur, we should be fine. I think we have more than enough shielding to field anything that is thrown at us. And we've got plenty of weaponry to deal with that as well. So it's just a case of making sure that we're ready for professional before we go to it. Not to overstretch, and to make sure that we are ready for anything we face, because otherwise we'll lose everything. Ooh, mosquito. What is this one? Have we seen this one before? Oh, I think we have. Yeah, it's the one that's terrible. It's got a gun. It has point defense, so it's the one thing in the amateur sectors that can actually do anything against missiles, but you're unlikely to have missiles, really, at this level, because they're really expensive to do. Yeah, we'll make sure to finish this sector before we finish for the episode, and the next episode we'll jump on to the professional sectors. And it would be nice if we could advance by a sector per... a type of... a difficulty level. A difficulty level per episode, but I don't know if I'll be able to keep that up. It depends on how well things go each time. There might be an episode where half the ship blows up and I have to sort of rebuild and jump back to a lower sector for a while, that sort of thing. Which could be quite a cool thing if you manage to survive a fight, but having taken so much damage that you have to go back to your roots and start again, basically. Here's the junker. This is always a weird one. I guess we'll just take the weapons out and then go for the reactor. Yeah, there we go. You can basically assume that they'll point the side that has the most firepower at you each time. So just target the biggest guns. Sorted easily enough, and onwards to the next guy. Yeah, I'll stop for a minute and check the missile stuff, because let's see how that looks. Because yeah, so the ammo factory is 5,000, the ammo storage is 1,000, missile factory 15,000, missile storage 1,500. So the factories are the big thing. They are extremely expensive, and I think in terms of the missile launchers, yeah, one missile launcher is twice as expensive as the larger kind of cannon, or 6 times as expensive as the basic cannon. So it's quite an investment to do, but it would be awesome to have, because, damn it, I've lost him again. Come back. Yeah, it'd be awesome to do because they're the longest range weapon, and so they can really help in a lot of situations, and it means that you always get the first strike, basically. You'll always arrive just after your missiles have, and so the enemy has just had to deal with those when it even starts fighting you. If you have enough of them fire at once and the enemy ship isn't well built, then you could just end up knocking out all important components of the ship straight away. Which just makes the fight super easy. Like, you can knock out an amateur level ship probably in one volley if you've got like 2 missile launchers. Depending on what the ship is, some of them will serve better. But yeah, having one ship that's just a missile ship and just hangs back and fires as many missiles as it can possibly produce at the enemy, while you have another ship actually engaging it in close range, that sort of thing can be really fun. Because then you can build the ship entirely dedicated to damage output, with no need to consider defenses or maneuverability. Maneuverability a little bit to make sure it can keep at long range. But yeah, you can just build it to fire missiles in as high a quantity as possible, as fast as possible, and then just have it sit back in any fight and be a huge bonus to your ability to blow the enemy up. And that is the last ship in this sector. There we go. We're looking fairly good. Using storage this time seems to be going okay, as far as I can tell. Everything's staying fairly powered, nothing's randomly shut down. We've not had any issues with crew abandoning their posts and weapons shutting down so far, but we haven't encountered electro bolts yet. So that might end up being a problem. We'll have to see what happens when we fight that particular electro bolt ship from the professional sectors. The one that screwed us over the first time round with the 6 electro bolts. And see if we can fare fairly well against that one this time. Basically, we just need to make sure that the guns that aren't ionized are manned at the right times. But yeah, we are currently relying entirely on things that are weak to electro bolts, so that is something to bear in mind. We should try and get cannons or missiles pretty soon so that we have that backup system. But that's all we have time for today, so I shall say goodbye, thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.